In this video, we're going to be talking about Keynesian economics, which is a very important theory in economics for many, many decades now. And this is a very critical idea, critical theory that has informed a lot of research, economic research, a lot of research, academic research, and has become really a cornerstone of economic policies and principle. All right, so let's take a look at this closely. Now, it says Keynesian economics, right? So let's define this idea or this concept. Keynesian economics is a micro, so micro is big, right? Don't forget MA. Let's put that here equals to big, and MI, micro, equals to small. So Keynesian economics is a microeconomic theory of totaling spending. Very important points here. Now, please take note of this, each of these words. Totaling spending in the economy and its effects on outputs, right? So we want to know the impact of spending. When people spend in the economy, what does that mean? How does that impact the economy, right? And that's, the focus of Keynesian economics. So the theory of total spending in the economy and how that spending impacts a few things, right? Its effects on output, on employment, and on inflation. Please take note of this, right? Because this is the pillar of Keynesian economics, right? Understanding the impact of citizens' spending on key indicators such as output, employment, and inflation, right? And we're going to take a look at inflation. We're going to take a look at employment in a minute. So Keynesian economics was the product of a British economist called John Maynard Keynes, right? Again, it's important for us to understand the origin of this theory. And he came up with the theory during the 1930s. Now, what was happening in the 1930s? Great Depression, right? The Great Depression was going on in the 1930s, and he comes up with this theory to understand how spending of citizens impact output, impact employment, and inflation, right? So let's put that here, and inflation. And it's important to understand all of this, how this plays out, because this is how government policies are formed. This is how government understands the economy, and this is how, measures are taken to correct the economy and so forth. Keynesian economics position is that aggregate demand, right? Okay, let's stop here and begin to understand this. Aggregate demand, what does that mean? It means the collective demand. So let's put that here. Collective, right? Demand of citizens. That's what aggregate means. The collective demand, the overall demand of citizens is volatile and unstable. So it's volatile, right? So the aggregate demand is volatile and unstable, right? Volatile, again, means it's not reliable. It fluctuates. That's what it means. And unstable. And that consequently, a market economy often experiences, right? So as a result of this instability, right, the theory is saying as a result of this instability, a market economy often experiences inefficient microeconomic outcomes. And what are those outcomes? We are talking about output, employment, and inflation. Because of the instability and the volatile nature, right, of aggregate demand, the theory is saying that a market economy often experiences inefficient microeconomic outcomes. A recession when demand is low, right? So now we have recessions, right? As a result of the instability and volatile nature, we have recessions. And what is a recession? When demand is low, right? Demand is low, and then because money is not there, because people are not spending, there's austere measure in the economy. And so people are not spending. And because people are not spending, we have a recession, right? We have a recession. And demand is low, right? They don't have money, they cannot demand. And then we have inflation when demand is high, right? So demand is high. So, right, many people Let's put that here. These are many people chasing few products, right? So this is a computer, and many people chasing, right, a couple of computers. So we have 5 people here chasing a couple of computers, right? So demand is high, but again, the productivity is not meeting the demand. So everything goes up. So this computer, instead of being a $1,000, becomes $1,500 because everybody wants it. These economic fluctuations can be mitigated by economic policies, right? Economic policies, responses coordinated between the government and the central bank. This is a nutshell of Keynesian economics. It's very important to understand this position and how Keynesian interprets the economy and its policies and its theories. It basically looks at how spending in the economy impacts output, employment, and inflation. Once again, it's important to understand that Keynesian economists, their position is that the aggregate demand is volatile, unstable, and that consequently leads to market economy often experiencing inefficient microeconomic outcomes, and that either leads to recession when demand is low and inflation when demand is high, right? And then they argue, however, that these economic fluctuations can be addressed by economic policies that are coordinated between government and central bank. That's Keynesian economics.